Hello, it is Stacy here. In this video, I will show you how to customize the content of your booking form and display more info about your employees and services with the WordPress Appointment Booking plugin by MotoPress. Subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post new tutorials. All of this is possible with the help of shortcodes, and the Appointment Booking plugin now comes with a handy tool for creating your own shortcodes. Make sure to update the plugin to its latest version in order to have access to all its latest features. All default shortcodes with their parameters are available in the Help menu. You can display any element of the Appointment plugin on a page of your website by copying the shortcode and pasting it in your preferred page editor. For example, in order to display a booking form, copy and paste its shortcode. Here is how a default booking form looks. But what if you want to customize its content, change labels and fields? This can be easily done by editing the shortcode directly in the editor or by using our shortcode creation tool in the shortcodes menu. If you want to create a custom shortcode for the appointment form, click Add New and select Appointment Form. Give your shortcode a name and choose what fields should be displayed. You can show or hide the selectors for service category, location, and employee if you don't need your customers to choose this. Below you can change the labels for each field. These are texts that are displayed above each field. Unselected service and unselected option are the texts in each field that your customers see if they have not selected any option yet. You can also select a default option for each field in case, for example, you have only one option. This minimizes the number of clicks that your customers have to do in order to place a booking. For each shortcode, you can also specify the HTML anchor. It is a unique word that lets you link directly to this element on the page. For example, if I call it Form Courses and place the shortcode on a page called Booking, my website visitors will be redirected to this form on the page if they click on a link that looks like this. You can read more on how this works in the link under the field. You can also customize the design of each shortcode by giving it a class name and applying custom CSS styles. Now click Publish and you will see your new shortcode that you can paste to any page and display the form exactly how you want it. With the help of shortcodes, you can also display such elements as employee, locations, and services list, as well as service categories. Make sure that you have actually created the content that you want to be displayed in these shortcodes in the employees, locations, and services menus on the left. Now I will go through their settings. Here is how the default shortcode for employees list looks like. If you are creating a custom shortcode, you can choose to show or hide the featured image, post title, which in my case is the name of the employee, excerpt, contact information, social networks, and additional information. The last three can be set up in the editor of each employee in the Employees tab. You can also create a list that will display only selected employees. If you leave the employee field empty, all employees will be displayed in the list. If you specify employee slugs or IDs, then only the selected employees will be shown. You can find the slug and ID of each employee in the Employees tab. Hover over an employee name and in the link at the bottom of the page, you will see a set of numbers. It is the ID of my employee. Also, if you click Quick Edit, you can copy the slug of this employee. So in the shortcode, you can specify one or multiple comma-separated IDs or slugs of the employees who you want to display in this list. You can also display a list of employees by location if you specify the location IDs or slugs. These can also be found in the Locations tab menu. If you have many employees, the list may become very long. You can enable pagination to make the list easier to navigate. Simply specify how many employees per page you want to display here. In the columns count field, you can choose how many columns there should be in the list. By default, it is 3, but here is what happens if I change it to 2. You can also decide how the list should be ordered. You can order it by post ID, the name of the person who created the post, the title of the page, in my case it is employee name, by post slug, by the date when the post was added to the website or last time it was modified. Posts in the list can also be ordered randomly by relevance, page number, or page number and post title. These can be displayed from the lowest to the highest value or vice versa. You can also specify the HTML anchor for this list. It is a unique word that allows you to link directly to this list. You can read more on how it works in the link under the field. You can also give this shortcode a custom class if you want to add some custom CSS styles to it. Click Publish and the shortcode can now be copied and pasted to any page to display the list. The settings for the locations list shortcode are very similar. Here is how the shortcode looks by default. It simply displays a list of your locations. By creating a custom shortcode, you can hide or show each location's featured image, category, and excerpt. You can also create a list that displays only specific locations by specifying their IDs or slugs below. You can find the ID and slug of each location in the Locations menu. Hover over a location and you will see its ID in the link at the bottom of the page. Click Quick Edit and you will be able to copy its slug. Now write comma-separated IDs or slugs of your locations in the field Locations, and only these locations will be displayed. If you leave this field empty, then all locations will be shown in the list. You can also display a list of locations by categories if you specify their IDs or slugs in the field below. And the slug is usually the name of the category in lowercase, where spaces are substituted for dashes. If you have many locations, you can enable pagination in the list by specifying how many locations you want to display per page. You can also choose how many columns of locations you want to display in the list. The remaining fields work exactly how I explained earlier in the video for other shortcodes. Click Publish, and the shortcode can now be copied and pasted to any page to display the list. The Appointments Booking plugin also allows you to display a list of your services anywhere on your website by using the services shortcode. Here is how it looks by default. Here you can show or hide for each service its featured image, title, excerpt, price, duration, and employees who provide it. You can also choose to display only specific services in this list by writing their comma-separated IDs or slugs. The IDs and slugs of each service can be found in the Services tab. Hover over a service to see its ID in the link at the bottom, or click Quick Edit to copy its slug. The fields below let you create a list of services that belong to specific employees, service categories, and tags. Their slugs and IDs can be found in the same way in the Employees, Service Categories, and Service Tags tabs, respectively. You can enable pagination in the list by specifying how many services per page should be displayed. Below you can also change the number of columns for this list. The remaining fields work exactly how I explained earlier in the video for other shortcodes. Click Publish, and the shortcode can now be copied and pasted to any page to display the list. Last but not least, a shortcode for service categories. This is how it looks by default. By creating a custom shortcode, you can show or hide the featured image, service count, and description. In the parent field, you can specify the parent service category, whose children's service categories you want to display in this list. Both can be set up in the Service Categories tab. An example of a parent category can be skincare services, and its children categories can be treatment or cosmetic services. Now select the child category and specify its parent to connect the two. Child categories can even have their own child categories. The IDs and slugs of each category are visible when you hover over a category or click Quick Edit. Here you can even exclude some categories from the list. If you leave these fields empty, all service categories will be displayed. Note that by default, categories that have not been assigned to any service are not displayed through the shortcode. Depth is how many child categories should be displayed in the list by depth. You can also limit the number of categories shown and their number of columns. Here, the list of categories can be ordered by term name. It can also be ordered by slug, by ID, by the number of associated services, term order. The remaining fields work exactly how I explained earlier in the video for other shortcodes. Click Publish, and the shortcode can now be copied and pasted to any page to display the list. We also added a few shortcodes that will give you more control over the design of single employee pages. These shortcodes start with MPA employee, and they are listed in the Help tab at the bottom of the page. They represent all elements that you create in the employee editor: image, title, services list, schedule, content, contact information, social networks, and additional information. I will show you now how you can design an employee page with this. Open a page and add all these shortcodes through a shortcode widget. I'm using the standard WordPress editor, but it can be done in any editor of your preference. Find the ID of the employee in the Employees tab and paste it in each shortcode. This way, the shortcodes know whose information to display. Without correct IDs, no information will be displayed. Now create a preferred layout with a page editor and move the shortcodes where you want their information to appear. Here is an example of how such an employee page could look. All these shortcodes have two more parameters: HTML ID and HTML class. The first one is useful for creating anchor links, while the second one allows you to add custom CSS styles for this element. That is it for custom shortcodes. Let us know what you think about the Appointments plugin, or comment down below if you have any additional questions. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to see more useful tutorials. Thank you for watching, and have a great one!